Dumpase was a small village in Africa and home to a people rich in culture and tradition. It was a place where stories were woven into the very fabric of life, and each day was a new page in a long history of its people. One day, a stranger arrived in Dumpase. He was an old man, bent with age but with eyes that sparkled with the wisdom of many years. He carried with him a drum, unlike any the villagers had ever seen. The old man claimed to be a wandering griot, a keeper of stories and songs. The next morning, the old man went to the village square. "Gather around, my children," he said, his voice a melodious blend of authority and gentleness. "I have a tale to tell, a tale of a drum that holds a wish within its skin." The villagers gathered around the old man. Their curiosity piqued. The griot began his story. Long ago, in a time when animals spoke and magic was as common as the wind, there was a great kingdom called Bubum. In this kingdom, there lived a wise and just king named Tuka. King Tuka had everything a man could desire: wealth, power, and a loving family. Yet, despite all his riches, there was one thing he could not have, and that was peace. King Tuka's kingdom was plagued by war and famine. He sought the counsel of the wisest elders and the most skilled healers, but nothing seemed to work. One day, a mysterious old woman appeared at the palace. She claimed to have a solution to the king's troubles. "Wise king," the old woman said, "there is a drum, a mythical drum, that holds within its power to grant one last wish. But beware, for the wish comes at a great price." The king, desperate to save his kingdom, agreed to the old woman's terms. She handed him the drum and disappeared into the night. The next day, the king took the drum to a special room in his palace, guarded day and night. The griot paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. The villagers leaned closer, eager to hear more. The griot continued. Years passed, and the kingdom of Bubum continued to suffer. King Tuka, driven to the brink of despair, decided it was time to use the drum's power. He sought the consent of his advisors and the wisest elders in the land and struck the drum. The sound that emanated from the drum was like nothing they had ever heard. It was as if the very soul of the earth was speaking. The air shimmered, and a voice echoed through the room. "Speak your wish, King Tuka, and it shall be granted. But remember, every gift has its own cost." The king, with a heart full of hope and fear, made his wish. "I wish for my kingdom to know everlasting peace and prosperity." The drum's voice responded, "So shall it be." And with that, the drum fell silent. The griot's voice grew sober as he continued. The wish was granted. The kingdom of Bubum flourished. The land became fertile, and the people knew peace like never before. But the cost of the wish soon became apparent. King Tuka's beloved daughter, Princess Ayana, fell gravely ill. No healer could cure her, and the king realized that the price of his wish was the life of his only child. In his grief, the king locked the drum away, vowing never to use its power again. The kingdom continued to thrive, but the king's heart was forever broken. He gave up the ghost with the secrets of the drum's power, and the drum was lost in the sands of time. The old man continued. The drum, however, was not lost forever. It passed from hand to hand, village to village, until it found its way here to Dumpase. It is said that the drum's last wish remains unspoken. waiting for someone brave enough to claim it. The idea of a drum with such power was both thrilling and terrifying. Among them was a young man named Kwabrane, known for his curiosity and courage, met the old grayer at the village square the next day. "Tell me, wise one, what must one do to claim the drum's last wish?" The old man smiled. "Ah, young man, the path to claiming the drum's wish is not an easy one. It requires a heart pure of intent and a spirit willing to face the unknown." Kwabrane felt a shiver run down his spine. The challenge intrigued him, and he knew he had to try. "I will seek the drum's last wish for the good of our village. I will face whatever trials lie ahead," Kwabrane said to his mother that evening. "My son, a man who uses force is afraid of reasoning. Be wise and cautious on your journey. May your heart guide you through," his mother said. Kwabrane set out early the next morning with the drum the grayer had handed over to him, strapped securely at his back. His journey took him through dense forest and across wild rivers. He walked for days, guided by the faint pulsing of the drum. As the sun set, Kwabrane found himself at the edge of a vast desert. The air was hot, and the sun stretched out before him like a golden sea. He knew that crossing the desert would be his first trial. As he stepped onto the sun, he heard a whisper in the wind. The desert tests the spirit. Only those who walk with purpose will find their way. Kwabrane pressed on, the heat bearing down on him. His mind began to play tricks, and he saw myriads of water and shade. He remembered his mother's words and focused on his goal, pushing through the exhaustion and doubt. After what felt like an eternity, he reached the other side of the desert. There he found a small river and immediately quenched his thirst, grateful for the cool relief. As Kwabrane rested, he noticed the figure approaching from the distance. It was an old man, much like the grayer who had given him the drum. The man sat beside Kwabrane and spoke in a voice that was both gentle and commanding. "You have passed the first trial, young one, but there are more challenges ahead. I am the guardian of the drum, and I will guide you if you prove yourself worthy." Kwabrane nodded, understanding the gravity of his task. "I am ready, guardian. What must I do?" The guardian said, "The next trial will test your heart. You must find the hidden village of Chichi and bring back a token of their trust. But beware, for the path is filled with deception." Kwabrane thanked the guardian and set off in search of the hidden village. The journey was arduous, and he encountered many obstacles. He crossed treacherous ravines, navigated through dense jungles, and faced wild animals. Yet he pressed on, driven by the pulsing of the drum and his determination. One evening, as the stars began to light the sky, Kwabrane stumbled upon a hidden path. He followed it and soon found himself standing at the entrance of the village of Chichi. The villagers, wary of strangers, surrounded him with spears and suspicious eyes. Kwabrane immediately said, "I come in peace, seeking a token of your trust. I mean no harm." The village chief, a wise and old man, stepped forward. "Trust is not easily given, young traveler. You must prove your worth through deeds, not words." The chief set a series of tasks for Kwabrane. He helped build huts, fetched water from distant wells, and hunted for food. He worked tirelessly, earning the respect and trust of the villagers. One day, a terrible storm struck the village. Homes were destroyed, and the people were in despair. Kwabrane, without hesitation, led the efforts to rebuild. He worked alongside the villagers, showing strength and compassion. After the storm passed, the chief approached Kwabrane with a smile. "You have proven yourself, young man. You have earned our trust." He handed Kwabrane a small carved token. "Take this as a symbol of our faith in you." Kwabrane accepted the token with gratitude. "Thank you, Chief. I will honor the trust." With the token in hand, Kwabrane returned to the guardian. The old man smiled and nodded approvingly. "You have done well, Kwabrane. The final trial awaits. You must journey to the mountain of echoes and confront the spirit of the drum. Only then will you be able to make your wish." Kwabrane felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He knew his final trial would be the most difficult, yet he was determined to get through. The journey to the mountain of echoes was long and exhausting. Kwabrane climbed cliffs, crossed raging rivers, and battled fierce winds. The drum's pulsing grew stronger, guiding him forward. As he neared the summit, he heard a haunting melody carried on the wind. It was the voice of the drum, calling to him. Kwabrane pressed on, his heart pounding with anticipation. At the peak of the mountain, he found a small cave. Inside, the air was thick with magic and the drum's pulsing was almost overwhelming. Kwabrane took a deep breath and stepped inside. In the center of the cave, a shimmering figure emerged from, taking the form of a beautiful woman with eyes that sparkled like stars. "Welcome, Kwabrane," the spirit said, her voice like a melody. "You have come far, and now you must face your final challenge. Speak your wish, but remember, every gift has a cost." Kwabrane felt a surge of emotion. He thought of his village, his family, and the people he had met on his journey. He knew his wish had to be selfless and true. "I wish for my people to know everlasting peace and prosperity," he said, his voice steady. The spirit smiled, but there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Your wish is noble, Kwabrane, but the cost will be great. Are you prepared to accept it?" Kwabrane nodded, understanding the weight of his decision. "I am." The spirit raised their hands, and the cave was filled with brilliant radiance, and Kwabrane felt a surge of energy. "So it shall be," the spirit said, her voice echoing. "Your wish is granted." Kwabrane felt a wave of exhaustion wash over him, and he collapsed to the ground. As darkness claimed him, he heard the spirit's final words. "Remember, Kwabrane, that true peace comes from within. Cherish it and protect it, for it is a precious gift." Kwabrane awoke. He found himself along the cave. The drum was gone, and in its place was a simple wooden staff. He knew his journey was complete. He made his way back to Dompase, where the villagers greeted him with joy and relief. They could see the change in him and the wish he had made for his future. From that day on, Dompase flourished. The land became fertile, and the people knew peace like never before. They remembered Kwabrane's journey and honored his sacrifice. Years passed, and Kwabrane became a wise and respected elder. He taught the villagers the importance of unity, compassion, and courage. The legend of the mythical drum was passed down through generations, a reminder of the power of selflessness and its true cause of peace. The old grey's story had come full circle, and the villagers of Dompase knew that as long as they held onto the values Kwabrane had embodied, they would continue to thrive. As the sun set over the village, the sound of drums filled the air, a celebration of life, love, and the enduring spirit of a young man who dared to wish for a better world. And so, the tale of the mythical drum and its last wish became an eternal part of African tales, a beacon of hope and a lesson for all who heard it. So the drum's last wish was for the people to cherish and protect true peace that comes from within, for it is a precious gift.